So basic number system segregation, you know it already, guys. I'm just revising the information that you know, and then starting off with classification of numbers. Okay, we have many number systems types. So decimal number system, binary number system, octal number system, hexadecimal number system. We have many types of number systems, out of which we prefer is nothing but decimal number system. Okay, out of which what we prefer is nothing but decimal number system. So in the decimal number system, we have the numbers from 0 to 9. Please don't tell me, ma'am, 10 is there. 10 is a combination of 1 and 0. Okay. Totally, we have the numbers from 0 to 9. So that is the decimal number system that we use here in the mathematics of quantitative aptitude. Okay. And we have few questions based on the conversion of decimal to binary, decimal to octal number system, decimal to hexadecimal number system. So when such questions comes, we can discuss in detail regarding the topic. Okay. So now if you see the classification of number system, first one is nothing but natural numbers. Okay. Ignore this LKG handwriting, guys. I hope the concept knowledge of explanation will be clear to you. If anything is not clear, please let me know in Q&A column or chat box. Okay. So the first one is nothing but natural numbers. Okay. So natural numbers starts with 1 and ends with infinity. Okay. And the second one we have is nothing but whole numbers. Okay. Whole number starts with 0 and then ends with infinity. Okay. So even numbers, odd numbers, those segregations, whatever you know, I'm writing it once again. Even numbers means even number is nothing but the number whichever is divisible by 2. Okay. Odd number is just the opposite of that, which is not divisible by 2. Okay. Next, if you take prime numbers are nothing but which are divisible by 1 and itself. Okay. Which are divisible by 1 and itself. Next category, if you take, that is nothing but composite number. Okay. What is a composite number? Composite number is nothing but other than prime. So if that can be even number, if that can be odd number, other than prime, all the numbers can be considered as opposite number. And the very most important number, real number. Okay. What is a real number? Whether that's a fraction, whether that's an odd number, even number, any value which is in the combination of numbers from 0 to 9, you can take it under real number category. Okay. It can be fraction, it can be decimal, it can be positive value, it can be negative value. Any value can be taken under real number. Okay. And the eighth one is nothing but integer. So what is the meaning of integer, guys? Can any one of you please let me know in the chat box? What is the meaning of integer? Integers, we have two categories, positive integers and negative integers. What is the meaning of integer? Rational numbers and irrational numbers together are nothing but real numbers. Yes, exactly. Rational numbers means it can be fraction or it can be decimal. Irrational numbers means which are under root values or which are not proper fraction of p by q. Okay. What is integer? Integer is different. Real numbers are different, guys. It can come in that category, but I want what is the meaning of integer? Okay. Can you please tell me what is the meaning of integer? Integer is nothing but a complete value. Okay. I'm writing out here. Try to understand. Integer is nothing but a complete value. What is a complete value? You should not have any decimal points in it. Okay. How many ever digits of number is that? You should be having a complete value. Okay. Let's say 3 is a complete value. No decimal point now. 34 is a complete value. 567 is a complete value. That means integer means you should not be having decimal points in it. Okay. So without any decimal points, whatever the number you have, that can be any digit number. Okay. So integer is nothing but it can be a positive integer, okay, or otherwise it can be a negative integer, okay. And the next one you have is nothing but decimal points, okay. What is decimal points, guys? 0.3, okay, 1.34, 567.39. This is nothing but decimal point values, okay. Decimal point means you will be having point over there in the complete number. So that can be called as a decimal number to answer for the question, okay. So one more segregation of numbers, which is very important to understand, is nothing but rational numbers and irrational numbers. Okay. Rational numbers and irrational numbers. So guys, don't do lot of PhD on recurring and then terminating, non-recurring and then non-terminating. So don't do lot of PhD on that. Try to understand the basic definition that is sufficient for this training placement program in case of campus recruitment. Okay. Rational is nothing but any number that you can write it in the form of P by Q. Irrational is nothing but any number that you cannot write in the form of P by Q. Okay. Let's understand more regarding rational number and irrational number. What is the meaning of rational number means anything that you can write it in the form of numerator and denominator. That means a proper value of numerator P, a proper value of denominator Q, you have to write. Okay. So let's take a value. If you have taken 2.5, okay. 2.5 is actually decimal, guys. Okay. If you try to represent the value of P by Q in the format, then I can write it as 25 by 10. Okay. 25 by 10 means if you want to simplify, you can simplify. Otherwise, you can say P, the numerator is 25, Q, the denominator is 10, and you can say that I represented that as a form of P by Q. Okay. So that's how you can write the value. And here there is a condition. Who is this? 1 second. We have a message. Snehita. Q is not equal to 0. Exactly. Super Snehita. So in this format, Q, it should not be 0, guys. That should be a proper integer. Okay. You can't be taking Q value 0. So you should be having a proper numerator and denominator value in this rational terms. Okay. And any number, already you have taken some number means that can you represent in the form of any particular numerator and denominator, so that you can write it as like this. Okay. So you can see the value 0.333333 and continuation so on. Okay. That also you can write it in terms of numerator and denominator 33.33 or otherwise 3.33 or otherwise 6.66. The continuation values also you can write here in terms of rational numbers. Okay. What is irrational number means you can't be having a proper numerator and denominator set to represent the value of irrational numbers, guys. Okay. So basic example for irrational numbers means all imperfect squares. Okay. So root 2 is not a perfect square now. Root 3 is not a perfect square. Root 5 is not a perfect square. So all the square root of values you can't write it in the form of P by Q. Okay. Please don't tell me I'll write it as 2 divided by root 2 into root 2 whole power 1 by 2 like that I'll write, and I'll write it as a P by Q form. Okay. So please don't use your intelligence in that way. Irrational numbers which are not proper squares are having no definite value. Okay. Whatever the value that you're taking for root 2, 1.414, that's not the exact value. Okay. That is just an approximation you are having. Root 4 means perfectly you can say it's 2. Root 100 means perfectly you can say it's 10. Okay. Whatever the value that you're taking for imperfect squares, those are not the actual values, guys. Those are the approximated values. Okay. So that's the reason in few questions you will be having an instruction pi equal to 22 by 7. Okay. In few questions you are able to, like, we are allowed to take it as 3.14, but few questions strictly they say that you should not be using 3.14 because that's not the exact value, that's the approximation value. Okay. You're supposed to use it as 22 by 7. Okay. So this is the basic segregation of number systems that we have. Out of the number systems we concentrate on the decimal number system from 0 to 9, natural numbers 1 to infinity, whole numbers 0 to infinity, even numbers divisible by 2, odd numbers not divisible by 2, prime numbers 1 and itself, composite number other than prime, whether it can be even, odd, any number can come in the value of composite numbers. Next, real numbers. Real number is nothing but a combination of all the numbers, guys. Okay. Combination of all the numbers means it can be integer, it can be decimal value, it can be fraction, it can be positive value, it can be negative value. Okay. All the numbers will come under real numbers category. If you want to write a Venn diagram, Under real numbers, these segregations will be coming. Okay. So next, integer means you have a complete value that can be positive or negative. And the next one is decimal. Rational means p by q form where q is not equal to 0. Irrational means it's not a p by q representation where you can't write a proper numerator and denominator for such values. Okay. So those who have joined the session little late, I guess you can also correlate with the information from now on.